Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Empower Ed Educator. And I am excited to see you once again. Hopefully, you are surviving. I'm recording this on May the 3rd. Now, first off, I love May. May is my birthday month. It's Mother's Day. It's the time of year where the weather starts to finally cooperate, right? Well, in most places. I think about the years I was back in Iowa. My boyfriend at the time and I decided to go on a trip for my birthday to Vegas. And when we left, it was the middle of May. We left, there was snow on the ground. No joke. For those of you up north listening, you get it, right? And then when we got to Vegas, of course, it was already 100 degrees and it was only like 8 o'clock in the morning or something. So reason I'm back here in Houston, but when I say the weather's starting to cooperate, for the most part, we're getting into the ending of spring where we're starting to see things warm up and less rain, typically a little less wind, and we start to really have some beautiful days. So today's one of those days in Houston. I was able to go out and have an amazing run today. Great walk with my dog. I've got the window open here in my office just to get some fresh air in, and I'm feeling pretty good. So hopefully you're in a state where you can say, yeah, life is not so bad. Now, I say that because we know what it's like right now, right? And it's happening everywhere. It's not a unique thing to have people out of control right now. It's not unique for people to be on each other's nerves. And it's not unique this time of year for everybody, including the school administrators, to be like, oh my gosh, can we just get through these last few days without one more problem, right? Raise your hand if you're feeling me. And I should see everybody's hands up because I know what this is like. However, I also know that when we have the right support systems in place and we have the right tools, and we're able to give ourselves the opportunity to rest and relax on the days that we do have time off or in the evenings, because we've managed our classrooms well, we have an efficient system in place. I know that it makes this gig a whole lot easier. Even though it's still stressful this time of the year, it could be a whole lot worse, right? And so that's where I come into play. That's something that I always push this time of year. I remember my last year at the school, when I served as a principal, May was our month during all of our staff meetings. We talked about self-care. What are you doing for you? How are you filling your cup right now? How are you taking care of you? And I remember my staff saying, these are things that I never got talked about at other campuses. It's just a push, push, push. Let's get this stuff done. And I said, well, we still have to get the stuff done, but we also have to realize that this is a time of year that it's hard. And we've got to think about our people because people is what makes the world go around, right? And if you are feeling as a teacher supported, I know you're going to show up different than if you're feeling as if what you do does not matter. I can tell you for a case in point, I am seeing a couple of teachers right now who know the school leader does not want them back on campus and they're good. That's the problem. They're good. And there's reasons, I'm sure, that I just am not privy to in my role. But now they're shutting down. They're taking days off. The days that they're just doing the minimum. They're like a warm body. And unfortunately, it affects children. And so I just want you to think about that. Finding a place where you are supported and appreciated is very, very important. Even if it's a hard school or it's a simple school. If your school leader does not support you, doesn't appreciate the work you do, it's going to be very challenging. So as you're making decisions going forward, think about that. And I want to talk to you about one more support that I'm putting into place. I've talked about it just a little bit, but I want to spend a little more time on it because I do feel like it's important to fully understand how this could really help a teacher moving forward. I don't sleep well. And when I'm up in the middle of the night, it's mainly because my brain can't shut off. I usually wake up for one of two reasons. Either the dog has to go outside or something comes up in my mind while I'm sleeping, and now I have to flush it out. I have to work it out. I've done this my entire life. It's just who I am. But recently, I had been having these thoughts about different levels of support for teachers. Now, I have a full level where you come in and you do courses with me, you do group coaching with me, specifically for first, second, third year teachers, or maybe somebody who has more experience than that, but they're struggling currently. We talk about management, we talk about communication, we talk about organization, we talk about being proactive, we talk about how we monitor our students' work and how we support them when they're learning and when they're not learning and all of those things. That program is a little bit pricey. It runs 10 months. It's very, very affordable compared to the amount of work you get, right? The amount of support. But it's for people who need that level of support. It's pretty intense. And then I have a support system, a program, again, a little pricey for teachers who are feeling like, okay, what are my next steps? Do I want to go into school leadership? How do I do it? Where should I go? Blah, blah, blah. That program, 8 weeks, very intense, but it really gets you set up to be in a place where you know what your next steps are. I have group coaching every month. It's $200 for the month, and we talk about the main things: management, communication, organization. Those are our big ticket items. We talk about those things. It's in a group setting, so it's more affordable for people than a one-on-one coaching. And it's a couple $100 per month. Still a little pricey, but not like $2,000 or something like that. But even with thinking about those different things, I thought, okay, those, for certain people, they're doable, absolutely. But what about these teachers? Maybe you're a single person and it's just you and you don't have a lot of extra money. Maybe you're somebody who has children and your extra money pays for their life, right? I get it. You have a dog, your extra money pays for your dog's life. I get that too. I remember saying to myself, when my daughter finally graduated college, she was off my payroll, right? It's different. You have different responsibilities throughout your life and how your circumstances are. And shelling out a lot of money for some support might not be doable. That's why I offer this podcast here on YouTube. That's why I offer the podcasts that I do, the content I do on social media. And I'm going to be back into blogging here in the next week. All of that is in an effort to support teachers at all different income levels and situation levels so that you can still get support from me. But I also wanted to offer something that went out regular, not necessarily a membership. It's not going to be, I'm not taking the time to do videos and teach you and PowerPoints and all of the things, but I did put together a monthly newsletter. And in doing this, I thought, what is my main goal? And this word came to me in the middle of the night: confidence. Now, let me read you the definitions that I pulled up just now on the internet for confidence. The feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something, a firm trust. The state of feeling certain about the truth or something. A feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities or qualities. And then, of course, it talks about a secret, right? Being confident in someone keeping a secret, which doesn't really apply here. So think about that for a minute. Trust. A belief in one's own abilities. Believing in something. What if, and this is what I asked myself that night, I could help build confidence in classrooms in a small nugget way that doesn't take up a lot of time for people, that doesn't inundate them with a whole lot of social media posts and they go down these rabbit holes because let's be honest, our lives are busy. We don't have time for that. And as I kept sitting there thinking about this, I took out some paper, notebook, and I started writing down, how does one become a confident teacher? How does one develop a confident classroom? Not just that the teacher's confident, but the students are confident that they're going to learn, that they trust their teacher, and vice versa, that the teacher trusts the students to do their best. How do we do that? Well, by the time I started dumping out everything that was on my mind, I was exhausted and went back to sleep. And the next day I look at all my notes and I'm thinking, newsletter. What if I could provide something in a newsletter where you read it at your convenience, that it always has some kind of link to go use the tool that's aligned with the work that's being discussed in the newsletter? That if people really take the suggestions, the information, and they move forward with it, that it can make a difference in their classroom. Something digestible, actionable, something of benefit, and something that is not going to take 6 hours to do because we don't have that time. And by the next evening, I had a plan. And that's how the Confident Classroom newsletter was developed. Something for you at a very reasonable price that can give you what you need based on some themes. And I've got the themes all lined out for this next calendar year from starting this month in May through April of 2026. Gosh, can you believe it's 2026? It's amazing. That will help those that need this level of support. Now, the newsletter will cost $10 per month. You can subscribe through the link, and I'll have the link in the show notes. But if you are really confident in my abilities, in my expertise, and my experiences to give you what you need, I am offering a huge discount if you purchase the entire year. So you get the entire year for $75. That brings it to $6.25 per month. Very, very, very affordable, especially in 2025, because I remember in 1995, I used to subscribe to different teacher magazines. 1995, y'all, that's 30 years ago. 30 years ago, I was spending anywhere between $9.95 and $15.95 per month for these magazines. And sure, there were things in these magazines, more than one thing, right? And sometimes I would get to everything, and sometimes everything aligned with the work I was doing. And sometimes I didn't get to everything, and I didn't get to use many of the things because it wasn't aligned with my assignment. Sometimes I kept them in a stack, telling myself I would go and read them in the summer, and I would get through maybe 2 or 3 issues, and then I didn't get through the rest. And I kept these magazines coming every month for years, right? I didn't get a discount if I ordered for the entire year. I had to pay monthly or the price monthly if I did order for the year. But I did it because it was something that I felt I needed to do, and it was something that was in the wheelhouse of my budget at that point in time to do it. So it's kind of the same concept, except for much more condensed, much more specific and focused, not to overwhelm. This is not something that I think will sit in your inbox or you do nothing with it. This is truly something actionable. So before we leave out, let me tell you the themes for the year, sorry. So May, June, July, August, and September, I align every month with the concepts within my TEDx talk that was released on March 1st, March 6th, something around that time. You can definitely go search me on YouTube. You can bring up the TED Talk. You can also go over to my newly designed website, sherrydixonconsulting.com, and you can see the TED Talk link right there on the main page. Go listen to that because it's amazing. And it's actually one of my new workshops that I will be offering as well. So pieces within the workshop, within the TED Talk, I have pulled out so that each month coming up, I am able to give you this information in a way that you can then go out and put it into action. So May, this month, is Remember Your Why. We all need to do that this time of year. June is Planning for Success, because in June, we start to make decisions about things, right? We know that resignation dates are coming up, and if you already have made decisions to make changes, then you have to start planning for that. If you haven't, then you need to. July is all about self-care because it's our month that we just get to breathe, right? You've gotten through all of your appointments and your staff development and all the summer school and all of the things. So now July is a time to rest and relax. August, we're getting back at it. Let's talk about effective classroom management because that's so crucial. And if you don't do it right at the start of the year, your year will be amazing. I can guarantee that. I promise. September, then we talk about running your day because now you're in the thick of it and we need to make sure that we are scheduling things, we are planning things, we are organized in all of the things. Then we go into the next months of the year. We know that they just get busier and busier. So October, I'm going to talk about grading practices and parent communication, which I've talked about here on this episode before, but we'll go in a little bit deeper. November is for special populations. I could talk about that for an entire day with people and never cover everything that we need to cover. But again, actionable, digestible information for you. December, the value you give. So talking about your own value. January, are my students progressing? It's a great time of the year to kind of do a pulse check, and we'll talk about that. In February, actually perform the mid-year checks, and I'll give you tools linked to the newsletter that will help you do that. March is preparing for end-of-year assessments because we know that time of year, that's when they get ramping up, and it's stressful, and it doesn't go away. And unfortunately, it's how we are measured. And then April, which would be the last issue in this first year, retention, making and communicating hard decisions out to parents. And again, another very crucial topic. Then in May, I'll have a new set of information for you. As long as you're subscribing to the newsletter, you always have access to the materials, so you can always go back. But again, it's my effort in which to help all of you out there be the teacher you were meant to be. No matter what amount of money you have in your savings account, your bank account, you're generating, no matter what your situation is in life or your circumstances, something at every level to be able to support and help you be your best. All right, y'all, check this out. I'm going to put the link to go directly to sign up for the newsletter. And then I'm also going to link you to my new designed website. Oh, so proud of it. If you haven't heard that story, go over to my podcast, Strong Inside and Out. And I talk about making a big overhaul, and it was scary, but it's working out. It's pretty fantastic. So I hope you survive this next week. Actually, no, I hope you thrive this next week because we shouldn't just be surviving in life. Find something to ground yourself into what is best for the work you do, for the students you serve, for yourself, so that you can make it through these final weeks of the school year thriving, not just surviving. All right, that's everything. I hope you come back next week and take this information. Check out that newsletter and let's get you the support you need. Have a great one, and I'll see you next week.